Welcome back to Oh That Girl Reads, where we read what we love and DNF the rest. I am that girl, Bria, and I am your host. And today we have an audio only recording. Honestly, this is going to be super short, super sweet. I have to be somewhere soon. And I figured like this episode would kind of be a nice light one before we get into the incredible interview that I had with author Therese M. Clarke. She is the author of Chaser and is also like best-selling and a journalist. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear from Therese in this upcoming episode. So this is kind of like a bonus episode because it's going to be a little bit short, but you will have another episode this upcoming Monday. So yeah, so whenever you're listening to this, know that a week from now, that Monday, you will have another episode from me. But I did also want to take this as like an opportunity to talk about the recent read that I had. So far, this is so bad, but so far in the month of August, I read one book, and that was Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I am having the hardest reading slump. I can't tell if it's like an actual reading slump or if it's depression. Between being a reading slump and actual depression, no reading has got done, but honestly, I really enjoyed this book, so I thought that I would do a review of it. If you listen to the past episode where I'm talking about the differences between YA and adult romance, I mentioned that I felt like Talia Hibbert is someone who has like enough of a range now since she's made a debut into young adult novels that I could do like a pretty good comparison between the two. And so I thought I would do that today. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with the story, I'm going to go ahead and actually read this out to you. Or read the summary to you. So Bradley is pretty much perfect. He's a star football player, manages his OCD well enough, and comes out on top in all of his classes, except that one he shares with Celine. They used to be best friends until Brad decided he was too cool for conspiracy theory obsessed Celine and literally abandoned her for the popular kids table. At least that's how Celine sees it. These days, Brad hates her guts and the feeling is mutual. So when Celine signs up for a 2-part survival course in the woods, she definitely doesn't expect to find Brad right beside her. Forced to work together for the chance to win the grand prize, Celine and Bradley must trudge through not just mud and dirt, but their messy past. As this adventure brings them closer, they start to remember all the good parts of their history. But has too much time passed, or just enough to spark a whole new kind of relationship? Now, what I really love about Talia Hibbert is the fact that, like, a lot of her books, if I think about her books, a lot of her books would still be amazing if there was no spice involved. And even if like I feel like the connection's there. And that's not to say that like the spice that she does write isn't like spicy enough, because I mean, my girl Talia, she goes in. But what was exciting about and both exciting and nerve-wracking about seeing that she was writing a YA romance debut novel. This is her very first one. What was exciting about this was the fact that you can see how like the quality behind an author, because they're able to remove the spice element and still create like a really in-depth story. Mind you, like these kids are teenagers, like they're literal teenagers, and like while teenagers do have sex, I like the approach that Talia took in that she really embraced like that crushy, I'm obsessed with you type feeling throughout this story. Like you get like a true like friends to enemies to lovers type experience, because like you kind of see bits and parts of their friendship in the past, but you really see their irritation for one another during the present, and like how their past relationship really affects how they interact with each other now. And what was great about that, pulling them out of being enemies, was that it was a very slow build, and you can see them to be like, oh, like going from like their stupid annoying smirk to like their stupid annoying smirk. It's so cute. I like it. You know, I feel like she did really good in the pacing of like building up that rebuilding that relationship, and then also taking that relationship and then turning it into something new. I really enjoyed the characters, Celine and Bradley. Celine, she is the overachiever. Like really see that like her poor relationship with her father is like what really drives her to be something else. She had a really bad relationship with her father, and she wanted to avenge her mother through her success. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it really got into the heads of, you know, people who do experience that like turbulent relationship with the parent and how that could really, really affect a child's development. And I feel like it was done in a way that's very relatable. Like I could imagine someone who's younger than me really relating to this story and really connecting with that part. I also feel like, you know, in particular with Bradley, I feel like really connected to. And that's something that's always been like a strong suit of Talia Hibbert. Like she has a way of making you feel very connected to her characters despite what they're going through. You're like, oh, that's my boo, and I'm gonna stick by them type of vibe. I really like Bradley for his just his overall goofiness. I feel like he was just like a really sweet kid. Like I feel like if I were these kids' teachers, I would adore both of these kids. I just felt like I felt like, you know, they're really bright, really intelligent, they were funny, they were kind and complicated and, you know, goofy. I really adored them. But Bradley in particular, he he struggles with OCD, and he struggled with OCD since he was a child. And as someone who's recently been screened for OCD and struggles with it, I really related to him in the sense, and you know, I like that when I was reading it, I didn't feel so triggered by the experience in a sense. Like I felt more connected. I felt more grounded, and I felt like I was understood. And so I really like the way Talia Hibbert handled that in the story. But yeah, as far as like the storyline, 10 out of 10. Like I thought it was really well done. I thought it was entertaining. I'm glad. If this is going to be the only book that I read in the month of August, then I'm glad that is the only book that I'm reading in the month of August. I think it was worth it. I will say it did take me a bit to get into the story, to really like, you know, cement myself into the characters and drive, but again, that might just be because I'm a mood reader, because I'm currently depressed, and because I'm currently in a reading slump. So I can't say that that is going to forever be impacted on my relationship with this book. Or I'm not going to put, what's better to say is that I'm not going to put so much weight into that as a reason for me to like change my rating on this. It's definitely a 4-star read for me. It it was so good. It was literally so good. And I thought it was so cute. And honestly, I'm so proud of Talia Hibbert for kind of exploring these certain topics. And I think it really did point out to me something about myself, because I really enjoyed the romance without the spice. It made it really low stakes for me. And it's interesting because I think you can do like romance without spice, or you can do romance with spice and it's be low stakes. But I feel like a fluffy YA romance, the stakes are so low. And in a weird way, sex does raise the stakes in the story depending on like how you integrate it within your story. So I don't know, I just really, really, really enjoyed this. It was cute, it was fluffy, it was a nice book to cuddle up and return to when you're kind of just like in the mood to feel something good. Like this book made me believe in love again, okay? Like you can't tell me, like young love is so beautiful, right? And I feel like Talia Hibbert really captured that, because like you just like I don't know, when they start to feel each other, you're just like, oh my goodness, you guys are so cute, like, and they're thinking they're in this transitional year of their lives too, right, where they're like looking at colleges and like what they're gonna do. And so you see like some of their anxieties about that, and you also see like some of the things that, in regards to Celine, you see the things that she had to protect herself from, and how hard of a shell she had to build in order to make herself um be able to be herself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really get into these characters, and oh my gosh, I just love this book so much. So if you need something to add to your TBR, or you would like to just listen to something fun, something chill, or listen, oh, honestly, I heard that the audiobook is actually narrated by Lady Danbury from Queen, or I guess from the Bridgerton series. I forgot her actual name, but it's narrated by her. So actually, if you do want a good book to listen to, definitely listen to this one on audiobook. She also did the Brown Sisters trilogy as well, so that's super exciting. So definitely listen to the audiobooks of these, because whoa, I feel like those are gonna be so good. But it's also just like a nice book if you just like want to settle down and like chill out and read something nice and fluffy, nothing too intense, So I highly recommend. um yeah, thank you guys for joining me today. I know this is like a really short episode, and it's kind of just a really tiny review on the only book that I've read so far in August. It's already August 21st at this point, and I've only read one book, and my TBR had 10 books on them. I'm going to be gentle with myself in terms of that, but still, I'm a little disappointed. But yeah, so I adore you guys. I hope you liked this episode. I can't wait for you guys to hear this interview with Therese M. Clark that's coming up this Monday. I know it's not our usual schedule, but I am definitely excited, and I also want to give as much energy as I can to this interview and this podcast episode. So thank you for kind of adapting with me in this audio only episode, and for just being here. So thank you so much, and I hope you read what you love and DNF the rest, and I'll catch you on Monday. Bye. So long, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. If you would like to see more, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, Oh That Girl Reads. If you want more bookish content, feel free to check out my booktube channel, Bria L, on YouTube. Remember, read what you love and DNF the rest. Bye.